By looking at Shakespeare as you like it through the perspective taken in Taylor Shelley's The Tinning Instinct, the female characters Rosalind and Celia can be understood on a deeper level. The psychophysical actions in production can reflect how an actor wishes to portray either character or the dynamic of their relationship. In the RCS adaptation of Act 1, Scene 3, both characters are portrayed as more independent and powerful in the situation and assist each other while the situation is bleak.
Mistress, dispatch you with your safest haste and get
The
you
sudden
from our
emotional
port.
shock is conveyed here as Rosalind glances at Celia.
Me, uncle.
You, cousin. Within these 10 days, if that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
Rosalind collects her thoughts for a moment and then transfixes her attention directly on him.
If with myself I hold intelligence or have acquaintance with mine own desires.
Rosalind looks to Celia for strength while talking and shows their unspoken dependence on each other. She says, "Dear uncle," and slightly smiles, as if trying to use the relationship as reason to not ban her.
Thus do all traitors. If their purgation did consist in words, they are as innocent as grace itself. Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
She speaks to him directly, yet she is aware he is the superior in the situation, so she keeps her composure when talking.
Thou art thy father's daughter.
In this moment, we see a clear tone shift, and she becomes strong in her response. She chooses each word strongly and clearly to convey confidence and independence.
Treason is not inherited, my lord, or if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me?
However, after mentioning her father, her voice softens. This shows the audience where her character is emotionally drawn towards. Rosalind becomes emotional, and Celia, noting Rosalind's suffering, throws herself between them to stop the situation from escalating.
We stayed here for your sake. Else had she with her father ranged along.
Celia speaks directly to her father when expressing her sadness to show how genuine her emotions are. She then goes on to define what Rosalind means to her, all the while speaking directly to her father. This conveys her desperation to tell the Duke why Rosalind should stay.
Rose at an instant, learned, played, ate together, and wheresoe'er we went, like
Rosalind is emotionally troubled as Celia tries to convince her father to reconsider. She has already accepted her punishment.
And her smoothness.
The Duke stares at her directly and conveys that he truly believes she is who to blame. He then attempts to create an emotional wedge between them, telling Celia she is to blame for her problems. Rosalind stares at nothing in a state of shock while having to listen to her uncle speak so negatively about her.
Firm and irrevocable is my doom which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot.
Celia's voice cracks to stress how important Rosalind is to her.
Eunice, provide yourself. If you outstay the time, upon mine honor, and in the greatness of my word, you die.
As the Duke leaves, Celia rushes to close the door and wastes no time to give Rosalind the quiet space she needs to distress.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go?
Being the more optimistic of the two, Celia uses slight humor to lighten the mood, yet Rosalind seems to be annoyed with the statement about who is more upset when she is not the one who is banished. Celia notes this and is quick to react as she offers a solution to her troubles. However, Rosalind tries to reason with her as she doesn't want Celia to be involved. While holding on to her lovingly, Celia tells Rosalind that their bond is deeper than family to her. The way Rosalind smiles and then quickly stops tells the audience she wants to believe Celia but is afraid to get her hopes too high.
And do not seek to take your change upon you to bear your griefs yourself and leave me out. For by this heaven, now
as the two of them brainstorm together, they touch hands and draw closer to each other. This symbolizes them coming together to create solutions to their problems. Celia, being more optimistic, is excited and looks to the positives, while Rosalind is more cautious and offers realistic approaches.
Poor and mean attire, and with a kind of umber smirch my face, the like do you. So shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better, because I am more than...
As they continue to talk, Rosalind's tone change indicates that Celia has successfully cheered her up.
Upon my thigh, a boar spear in my hand and in my heart. Lie there, what hidden wounds.
Despite the very playful and joking manner this conversation is exchanged in, ideas and possible solutions are bouncing off of one another. This subtly conveys how they use their friendship to their advantage when in stressful situations. It should be noted
Therefore,
that
if
as
you
they
call
talk,
me
Rosalind is becoming more
Ganymede.
animated as the situation seems
But
to be
what will
more
you be called?
manageable.
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Aliena.
But, cousin, what if we essay to steal that Romish
Additionally,
crown to our
anytime
father's
a new
court?
idea is
Would he
proposed,
not be
they
a
seem to
comfort
get
to our
closer and
father?
hold
He'll
each
go
other.
along the wide world with me. Leave me alone to woo him. Now let's
With their
away
escape plan in
and get our
mind, they
jewels
both
and our
dash off the
wealth
set to
together.
prepare for their
Devise
journey.
the fittest
They glance
time
back at
and
each other
safest
before
way
they
to
part,
hide us
and
from
Celia
this
ends the scene with a
ruining
reminder
after
that
my
they must
flight.
keep their plan and themselves
Now
safe.
go we and
These
content
hopeful and excited last words end the
liberty
scene on a
and
joyful
not
note and set up the
banishment.
audience for the next scene. In the 1936 movie adaptation of Scene 1, Act 3, both characters are portrayed as having suffered more emotional stress, thus have to support on each other more.
Rosalind! Rosalind! My cousin! My Rosalind! Cupid have mercy!
The scene opens with Rosalind being troubled with stress and Celia wishing to help. This introduces the audience to the dynamic of their relationship.
Some of it is for my father's child. Come, come, wrestle.
While this may look like just idle chit-chat, the playful tone of this scene shows the audience Rosalind can open up to Celia honestly. It subtly reveals the dynamic of their close relationship. As the two talk about their problems together, Rosalind draws closer to her cousin. This shows visually how close their bond
By this kind
is.
of chase I should hate him. For my father hated his father dearly. Yet I hate not Orlando.
No, Faith. Hate him not for my sake. Oh, look. Here comes the Duke.
Immediately, the two women bow as the Duke enters as a sign of respect to his authority. This conveys to the audience that his authority is never disregarded and that they are socially inferior to him.
Within these 10 days, if that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest.
Rosalind must recollect her thoughts as she absorbs what the Duke has just told her.
Beseech your grace. Let me
Her
remind
tone
you,
remains
my
respectful
poor
as she is aware of who she is speaking to.
Never so
However,
much
her
as in
voice does
thought
not
and
waver and
bond
remains
did I
strong while
feel
she
your
speaks.
Thus do all traitors. Thou art thy father's daughter, there's enough.
So
There's a
was
tone
I.
shift here that suggests she is
Your
choosing her
Highness
words
took a
carefully.
dukedom.
She's portrayed as wanting to speak her
Was
mind
I
yet
when
remain
your
respectful
Highness
to the Duke.
fancied?
This could demonstrate her struggle to remain
Please
within the
not
acceptable
mention
social
me.
boundaries set on her.
Or if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor. And good my liege, mistake me not so much, to think my poverty is treacherous.
Celia rushes to defend Rosalind. This could be seen as an act of Celia stopping Rosalind from talking because she knows her father will not listen to her. She's very persistent in her tone as she tries to explain to her father that Rosalind means dearly to her and should reconsider banning her.
We went coupling and inseparable.
The Duke pulls her aside to warn her that Rosalind is taking her title from her.
Bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone.
No, my liege.
Open not thy lips.
Rosalind is visibly distraught to hear the Duke speak so negatively about her and begins to cry. Celia dashes in front of the Duke to show her desperation to him to reconsider. This shows that both of the women are virtually powerless in their
You needs
situation.
provide yourself. If you outstay the time, upon my
Her state
honor,
of shock tells
and
the
in the
audience she is
greatness of my
emotionally
word,
unstable after hearing her
you die.
punishment. She drops to the floor and sobs. This conveys she is hopeless in her situation. The two women lie on the floor separated from each other as they cry.
My poor Rosalind. Whither wilt thou go?
Finally able to get up, Celia nears Rosalind in an effort to comfort her.
Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine.
She hugs Rosalind while she speaks. This shows the audience that Celia is the first to tend to the other in stressful situation as she begins to see a positive side to their bleak situation.
Thou hast not, cousin. Prithee be cheerful.
Already, Celia is smiling
No
and is
son
trying to
of
lighten the
Duke
mood.
hath banished me, his daughter. That he has not. No, hath not. Rosalind lacks in the love which teacheth thee the Tao, and I am one.
They
Shall
draw
we
closer as Celia unravels a plan to escape. Her contagious optimism is spread to Rosalind as she slowly smiles and is comforted by the idea of escaping together rather than alone.
Let my father seek another heir. For by this heaven, now at our sorrows pale.
Celia
Say
speaks
what thou
louder as she
canst,
becomes more excited
I'll
with the
go
plan to
along with
escape.
thee.
Again, Celia is conveyed as the bright optimism that Rosalind depends upon when
Whither
stressed.
shall we go?
Ending on a cliffhanger to set up the
seek
next
my
scene,
uncle
Rosalind is
in the
portrayed as
forest of
shocked to
Arden.
hear Celia suggest such an option to add mystery. Both productions tailored the scenes differently to convey different characteristics in Rosalind and Celia and give subtle meaning to the conflict at hand. That being said, there is no right way to visualize As You Like It. Interpretations vary. However, once having understood female friendships, directors might too benefit from it because an actor's body tells as much about a character as the dialogue does.